football video. But I don't know if you guys remember the very, very beginning, we might have missed it. They felt defeated. They felt that they couldn't beat that person.
We've gotten lazy, but we were made.
That's what you brought it for, right?
Yeah, I thought I had it.
I'm usually, she's the one telling me usually, so this is a rarity, guys. Anyway, the beginning of the video talks about how they felt that they couldn't beat the other team. How many of us come into this business thinking that we can't achieve our dreams because we feel defeated? So, and as you come in here, what's the statement, the mission statement of the company is to make people better. We will love you until you learn to love yourself. And how many people go to the gym and get a personal trainer? And why do you get a personal trainer? Not because you want to hear what they want to tell you, but you do what they tell you to do. When they tell you to give you an extra 5 push-ups, you do it, or whatever they're asking you to do. And in this business, we all have voluntary coaches. Nobody works for anybody, but we're here to help you to achieve your dreams. The same way as the coach was inspiring that person, because we've all got skills inside of us, but we've been beat up our whole life. And as we're beat up our whole life, we lose the vision for what we want for ourselves. So as we're here today with Neora, I want you guys to be brand new. I want you to be here with the mindset that, yes, I can. Because thoughts are things, and thoughts have power. You don't get what you want, you get what you picture. And where do you guys see yourself, a month from now, 6 months from now at conference? 5 years from now, where do you guys see yourself? And we've heard it over and over, you need to have a dream board. Judy and I, what we've done is we've actually put, not a whole dream board, but we've put a mini dream board on our phone. So every time we turn it on, and it just stays on for that few seconds. A picture of my family with Judy and Haven. There's a picture of me eating fire. I never thought I could eat fire. I never thought I could crack a board. I went to a workshop, and I actually cracked the board karate style. Never having done it before in my life. I hate fire. I never thought I could eat fire. But with the right guidance and the right coaching, we were able to do that. And a picture of my family. Wake up every morning believing that today is going to be better than it was yesterday. But how many people live in the past? Okay? We got to get out of that. The past, it's like, Judy and I did a training at a conference in Vegas. And we talked about the windshield and the rear view mirror. But unfortunately, people's windshield is their rear view mirror. But you need to be looking forward through your windshield. I'm going to just do a little exercise. What is this? Sorry, guys, I didn't have 100. But I got a 20. Fresh, clean. What is this? It's a 20. Okay? Would we all agree this is a $20 bill? This is a magic show. Okay? I'm not going to make this 100. But $20 bill, right? Now, what is it now?
$20 bill.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It's crumpled.
So?
Hang on a second. Hang on. What is this?
It's a dirty $20 bill.
It's a dirty $20 bill, but it's still worth $20. So why, when we get a no, do we feel less value? Why, when we get rejected, when somebody tells us, remember guys, you're going to get ridiculed, you're going to get opposed, and then people are going to see the light. Okay? A leader must be willing to stand alone. Just like this is still worth $20. I crushed it, I stepped on it, but it still had value. And so do you. So as you're all here today, I want to make sure that you keep and you know your value. You know what you're all about. Because that's what's going to move you forward. Believe in yourself. We will love you until you learn to love yourself. Judy and I are going to pour into you guys, and it doesn't matter whose team you're on, it doesn't matter. Because we know what goes around comes around. Okay? And that's what this whole company, Neora, is all about. There's been a lot of changes, but I think the changes for the best. And we're all moving forward, and we're all more committed than we've ever been. So don't lose value of yourself. Really, really important. So, making people better. Jude? She's saying, you're going to let me talk now?
I'm shocked. I get to speak in the first slide. No. We have fun guys up here. This for me is about being part of something bigger than ourselves. So it's one thing to say, I'm a Neora, salesperson. It's another thing to say, I'm building something here, you know, we have all our dreams and our goals and our why, and New York is my vehicle to do that. And it's very empowering when you can use that as a statement to say, you know, here's what I'm going for, and here's my passions and my goals, and some of the things I want to do. And I'm doing this little side gig over here in Eora that's helping me achieve that. You know, it's a lot different than saying, I'm a Eora salesperson. And so that's, for me, when we got involved, is being part of something bigger than ourselves. There's a lot of things I could do. We used to own some franchises. You know, I had 5 franchises, and I mean, my staff was, you know, we might have had 8, 10 staff per store, you know, 18 to 22-year-olds, and I loved it because I could influence their lives. They were at a point in their lives where they were young, and they were just starting to get, you know, into the workforce, and I love that feeling of being able to make a difference and influence them somewhat, but the reality was, they weren't going to hang around me forever. Like, this was a tiny little stepping stone in their career, and I thought, wow, what if I were able to do that on a bigger scale? What if I wasn't limited to just the kids that come through my store and hang around for a year or two and work? What if I could do that on a bigger scale? What if that's a gift that we can all do and bring something to different people around the world? And so that's truly, for us, it's about what I can do for others, how we can give back, making that difference. That is one of my biggest goals in life, being able to change that one person or their life or their mindset or how they feel about themselves. So that's really why I got into this, the culture, the give back. I mean, you know, we're always like, we can make money anywhere. We've owned many businesses. But there's not many places where you can actually give back as part of, right? So through, you know, the ripple effect, you know, we're bettering ourselves, and if we're bettering ourselves, what are we doing? We're bettering everybody around us, just that ripple effect, and that's really the cool part. And I always had this statement that somebody taught me once, and I used to say, when I get here, when everything in our life is, oh, when I make enough money, then I'll donate. When I make enough money, then I'll volunteer. When I make enough money, then we'll go on a trip. And we live our whole lives because that then never happens. Or if it does happen, we have a new then, right? And we live our entire life, and I truly believe people do want to give back, and they want to be better for their communities and their families and the world. But it never happens. We take care of ourselves. We take care of our bills. There's never enough month for all the bills. There's never enough time, right, you know, in a day. And so what I love about what we do is I change that then for while I'm building my legacy, while I am, you know, creating that secondary income for my family. It's so empowering. If you can just change that one word from when, you know, when this happens to while I'm doing this, it now puts you in the creative mode. Okay, so think of that as you're going. And so while we're building our legacy and living our dreams, we've got a lot of other dreams we're working towards, but we're still, in the meantime, through New York, we're able to donate through Big Brothers and Big Sisters. We're able, you know, we have a foster child. When we had 5 stores, working 7 days a week. My first franchise was $450,000. I was 30-some years old. I didn't have that money. I borrowed it, so the bank owned me. 7 days a week. I mean, my staff had, you know, hangovers or girlfriend problems or school problems or sports conflicts or exams. It became my problem, right? And so 7 days a week, we were working. How many years? 5 years? 7 years we built up. I loved it. I loved, you know, if we wanted more money, we had to open more stores, more investments, more nooses around our neck. And so we loved that idea of franchising, but I didn't like all the risk, and I wanted my freedom. I was like, you know what, life's, I want to say life's short because that's a bad statement, but you know, with the time that we have here on earth, I wanted to maximize it. And that's, you know, wild. So that's why we decided to get into this industry, because it had everything that franchising has. Cookie cutter approach. The company basically does everything. We just have to open our mouths and share. And I was like, I can do that. I can do that. Because I saw my dad build his company from ground up. And I know what it's like to build a company from ground up. And I've done it too, and it's a lot of work. And I'm like, can I just skip all that and get to the good stuff? Because I'm a hard worker. And so that's what we have in our hands, guys. And you can make it like it's the greatest equalizer. Okay? Because I always felt, I was even in my father's companies, I was always that girl that was ambitious and I wanted to learn, even though I was the boss's daughter. And I would get to a certain point, and everyone would help me, and they'd be so great. Wow, she's a real cleaner, and they'd be all excited to help me out. And then I'd hit a plateau, and then boom, then they started to sabotage me. You could just feel that glass ceiling, because why? Now I was threatening them. I was threatening their jobs, right? And that's what happens in your work. Sometimes I got passed up for a job maybe because I was a female. Maybe I wasn't the right age. Maybe, you know, has it ever happened to you where you're passed up for something, for someone else? You might have worked harder. They're getting paid the same as you. You might have not had the education. That's our whole life, guys. And we have these chinks that happen to us, and we start to devalue ourselves. In this, what we do, I don't care who you you are and what you've been through and what successes or failures you've had, we're all on an equal slate. We can start over and you can build whatever you want. So think of that, guys. It's not your past, not the rear view mirror. We want to be looking ahead. Decide what you want. We're going to help you get there. So that's our mission.
One thing I want to do, what's one of the biggest franchises we know in the world? McDonald's, okay. So tell me something. Does the owner of McDonald's say, I sell Big Macs?
Nope.
Does the owner of McDonald's say, I sell fries? Or he says, I'm running a McDonald's business? So why do we say, I sell night cream? Why do we say, I sell EHT? I'm in the anti-aging business, helping people to better themselves every single day. That mindset is absolutely huge, that you have that. Just remember, the McDonald's owner does not say, I sell Big Macs. I'm helping people move forward, okay? And that's the mindset that you need to have. Because everybody, I mean, that is so powerful, and it really hits home. But we need to envision that for ourselves, because we're here to love on you, to believe in you, okay, to make you have the lifestyle that you want and you deserve. And here's what's really cool about what we're doing, is we're teaching people about residual income. Only the wealthy understand residual income, and I'm going to share some numbers with you later. So, do we all pay a cell phone bill in here?
Yep.
Do we all pay an electricity bill in here?
Yep.
Do we all pay insurance every single month? Could I go on and on and on? Do we have a choice every month if we want to pay them or not? Whether we use it or not, we have to pay it. Okay? Do our customers have a choice? Yes. But they keep on using our products because our products are good. And if they're not happy, they can send it back for 100% money back guarantee. You have to envision that we're sharing with people, giving them some solutions. We're going to talk more about that later. Okay? Before we go further, we had a conference call the other day, and Jen did something on there that was really, really powerful. What's your win? And I want to get her to come up here and just share with us in a few minutes to talk about that, because this kind of goes in line with what we've been talking about. You need to envision yourself that you're the CEO of your own company. You need to envision that you're not selling night cream. You're not selling Youth Factor. You're in the anti-aging business with some of the greatest partners in the world. Signum Biosciences, Cosmax, some of the greatest minds, Jeff Olson, okay, Amber. I mean, these are brilliant, brilliant people that are providing the light for us. So we have that franchising concept without having to spend $450,000. So that's what you need to make sure that you understand. The $500 to $1,000 is not what's important. It's what that gives you the power to do. So Jen Solis, guys, help me welcome Jen Solis up here.
So this is a treat. I wasn't expecting to be up here, so thank you guys for inviting me. So how many of you went to Indianapolis? Raise your hands if you were in Indy or if you went to the California leadership training. All right, so if you're sitting near somebody who raised their hand, I would bet that you could almost feel the energy that they have and the confidence they have, because at those leadership trainings, they really poured into us the focus of where we need to be, and it all starts with your mindset. And so if I was to take inventory and meet with each of you one-on-one and ask you a few basic questions, I would bet that you would either say that you're here today because you missed Indy or Cali and you want to hear what you missed out on, or you're here because this is your Neora rhythm. You're always 10 core, you always show up. And then some of you are here because you're ready to launch back into your Neora business. You know, life happens to all of us. We're no different. Life happens to Syl and Judy, life happens to Tony and I, and sometimes we have to take our foot off the gas. It's still on there, we're on cruise control, but then other times we take the cruise control off and we're really behind the wheel and we're really driving our business. So that might be where you're at if you're in the room today, and I'm glad that you're here. But then we need to take this and we need to leave here with focus and determination, right? So what it really comes down to is what made you say yes when you joined with Neora. There was something that you saw that made you say, I want to be more than a customer. There's something about this that you saw an opportunity to either give you extra money at the end of your month, or you saw an opportunity to get your product for free and to help others. Maybe you saw an opportunity to be driving a car for free. And so you were like, if I could take the expense of a car out of my monthly budget and put in a free car from a company that's mine, whether I stay with the company or leave the company, that car is mine. It changes who's paying for it. As long as you're here, the company will pay for it once you reach that. And it's so doable with the way they've reorganized our compensation plan. It's so much easier to help people rise up to be car qualified. But what it all comes down to is what it is that's inside of you that makes you want to be a part of this company. So you have to stop where you're at and assess yourself and say, what is my next win? So maybe your next win is to be 3-year qualified. Maybe your next win is to sponsor a new brand partner. Maybe it's to help that brand partner become 3-year qualified. We all have these little stepping stones, and it's really important that you know what your next win is so that you can rise up and be winning. And our company sets us up so that we can do just that. Not only do you have promotions from the company, but you have people that you're surrounded by that want to help you. So if there's something that's on your list that you want to accomplish that's your next win, then you need to look around and say, who do I know that has already accomplished this? And then you need to meet up with them. But what it really comes down to, and what they drove home at the leadership training, was that it's 80% of what's going on up here. We all have these ridiculous ideas of what people think of us. And it's so not true. So you need to always be investing in your personal development. And on the call that Sil was referring to, I made a reference to the fact that sometimes we go out and we buy a new outfit, and we put the outfit on, and we feel like it was custom made for us. And we look in the mirror and we're like, dang, you're buying that. And I'll be damned if that thing doesn't say I'm a size smaller than I was last month. I'm for sure buying it. So, you get an outfit on and you feel good in it, and you walk out of your house and you're wearing that new outfit, and your head's held high, and things that would distract you, they just roll right off, right? You're like, I heard some nonsense over there, but it doesn't affect me because I look good. Right? So you just let that go. Well, that's what personal development does. If you are investing in what's going on in your head, it's the same effect as putting on an outfit that was tailor-made for you. Because personal development is exactly what those words say. It's personal and it's development. And when you combine the two, what builds me up is not going to build up my husband, because he's in a different place. He's got his own conversation going on in his head. So sometimes what we read is the same, but a lot of times it's very different. And I gain things and I highlight it, and he'll look through the book I read to see what I highlighted, because that's a clue as to what's going on in my head. And sometimes he'll read a book and he'll highlight it, and I'll look through, and I have a clue of what's going on in his head. So when you have personal development in your life, first of all, you need to do it very focused on what's going to build you up. And then you need to be consistent and pour into it, and do that for yourself. Because every time you read that book, you're putting on an outfit that was custom, tailor-made for you. And you're going to look good. Right? So you're going to walk out, and things that would distract you, they don't get your attention. Because it's not about you. It's what's going on in the head of whoever said it. It has nothing to do with you. Right? So, I just want to encourage all of you. One of the biggest takeaways from our leadership training was pouring into yourself. And I know some of you need to get back into this. But like Sil said, thoughts have power and words have power. If they didn't have power, you wouldn't be listening to what other people said. So change your words, be positive, and then share today, if you can. I want to encourage you all to think about what is your next win, Is it getting a new customer? Is it getting a new partner? Is it having a real results party before the month's over? We have double trip volume, right? So you need to take advantage of that. But figure out what your next win is. And go ahead and make a couple of items. You want to have a new customer, you want to get a new brand partner, you want to have a real results party. That's all in one, right? So list it out, know what your wins are, and then take activity that focuses on getting you to your win, and most definitely keep the personal development on a regular basis. Because I know sometimes I get busy in life and I'll step away from personal development and it becomes the last thing on my to-do list and I go to bed without doing it. And the next thing I know, like that happens 3 days in a row, well then I get a little soft. That fourth day I'm a little weak. I didn't put on my tailor-made clothes. So it's something that you have to be consistent in, and that will help drive you in focusing on getting to your win. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Jen.
I just want to give a huge shout out to Jen and Tony. They're awesome leaders in this area. They're super people. I know we're in my farm today. We have some function at Mike's family, but you know, you guys are so blessed with these people here in the farm.
Yes, we know.
And all the other people that help out and host parties, John and Mary the other day, and all the other teams as well. So thank you to all of you for showing up today, for you and for your business and for your families and your dreams. So hats off to all of you for showing up.
Exactly. So, get our business started, new brand partner training. We should all do this to refresh our memory. How many people have picked up a book and you pick up the book and you go, where did this chapter come from? I just read Think and Grow Rich again for probably, I don't know, the 20th time. And all of a sudden the subconscious mind chapter just came up to me and go, well, I don't remember reading it. Because every time you're developing yourself, you're at a new level. And as Jeff Olson says, guys, there's transmitters. Okay, we're transmitting information to you today, and there's receiving information. So as you're sitting there today, receive the information, but share it with your teams, because the intent is as we transmit, you receive, but you want to transmit that to your teams. One thought or one idea could really change a brand partner's outlook on something, a customer's outlook on something, a prospect's outlook on something. So as we're here today, guys, we're transmitting information to you. So make sure you're there receiving it, and I see all of you guys with notebooks, which is great. Take notes, okay? Because unfortunately, if it's just up here, you might forget about it. But if it's written down, you're going to be able to go back and refresh your memory with it. So the same way you read a book, okay, and you go, where'd that chapter come from? When you reread the notes, you're going to say, wow, I wrote that. I don't remember writing that, but very, very powerful. So really important, guys, go through the brand partner training, because as you go through it, you're going to see new things in there that you didn't necessarily have. All right, so it's a little bit slow, so I got to remember to click it maybe 5 seconds ahead of time. What is your why? Okay, what is your why? And we hear about that all the time, and I know we're probably sick and tired of hearing about the why. I'm going to play a video in just a second. Can you get that ready, Judy?
Oh, just texting Marquise.
Okay,
I
lost.
did too.
Something like that.
So what is your why? And here's the important thing, is that with your why, this is what's going to drive you, but a lot of times we don't know our why. You know, because we've got fears behind us. You know, when you're 20, you've got dreams and goals that are big like this, okay, and you're unstoppable. Haven's got dreams and goals. We did a bucket list this summer for things that we wanted to do in the summertime. I think he had 140 things, okay? Judy had 20, and I think I had 12, okay? But that's the whole thing. When you're young, you've got dreams and goals that are huge, but as you go through life, you kind of diminish things into this little thing called net income. So what we need to do is to raise...
Sometimes when people hear the phrase, how do I...
Goals. Okay, sorry. So we're going to just play this, and there's a bit of humor to this, but there's a lot of truth to it. Okay? Sorry, Judy, go ahead.
No, the next thing they say is what? How do I know what? But the key really isn't to know what. The key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that has moved me towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We were We're in Winston-Salem. So break time, this is how it works. I travel the country, I do stand-up comedy, probably an hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. I was like, all right, you teach music, you know, can you sing? And then I'm just gonna show you the clip. Check it. So you're a musical director?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know the version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. And this is what you got. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. So here's the thing. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time I asked him to sing, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose.
Does everybody get that?
That's pretty impressive.
Is the lighting bright enough right now? Is it okay, or you want it back up? It's good? Okay. So, why do we not write our why? We've all got fears. I mean, there's two definitions for fear, and everybody seems to remember the first one. False evidence appearing real. But what I want to do is I want you all to look at fear as face everything and rise. Face everything and rise. Okay? Because you need to look at that. The bigger the problems you can solve, the bigger the paycheck you can make. And that is absolutely huge. So when we're doing our why, we're scared to write down what we really want. Because we've been conditioned. You're no good, you don't deserve that job. You know, who do you think you are? And stuff like that. But that's not what we need to do. So I'm just going to talk about a few fears right now that I believe that people have got. And when you're in life, we all have fears. Okay? Number one, and remember one thing here, as you're doing this right here. You have to be a pioneer to your future, not a hostage to your past. So you're creating your future. You're not looking in that rearview mirror going back. You're not a hostage to your past. So what do you want to create? Okay, here's some of the fears that I believe most people have got. Fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Fear of the unknown. You know, doubt, worry, and certainty will paralyze you. But why don't you say to yourself, what if? We hear Anna Comp say that all the time. What if I do this? What if I have a real results party? I mean, look at Wendy Hatton. She's like the RRP queen, that girl. She's like unbelievable. And we have people to model. Everybody is sharing what to do. This isn't a secret. And understand that in the corporate world, if you know something, you don't want to tell your colleagues because you don't want to lose your competitive advantage. But what do? we share this information. So, you know, and what you need to do as you're thinking about your fears, everybody's going to have a predominant one. You have to see what's your predominant one, what's your biggest fear, and once you can overcome that, you're going to be able to move forward. So, another fear is fear of abandonment. Okay, fear of abandonment. You don't have any support. That's the furthest thing that happens with Neora, because we're all reaching out to people. Sometimes ad nauseum, because we want to help people so bad. And understand that there's people that have been in this industry that have signed up and have had zero support. What does Jeff Olson always say? Okay, it's not about you don't want to be a good enroller, you want to be a good sponsor. So, if abandonment is something that you're feeling, make sure you talk to it. You know, if you don't connect with somebody, you know, direct to you in your upline, connect to somebody else, because there will be somebody there that will help you, that will reach out to you. A third one could be fear of failure. I don't want to do this because I'm scared. Okay, but what's your options? I'll take questions after, if that's okay, Alex, okay? So fear of failure. What if it doesn't work? Well, what if it does? Okay? Because we tend to go negative. Make it positive. Okay, make it positive on that. Fear of rejection. Colonel Sanders talked to 1,007 people before the first person said yes to his chicken recipe. Chicken Soup for the Soul went to 230 some odd publishers before the first publisher said yes. What would have happened if he would have stopped at the 10th? What would have happened if he stopped at the 100th? What would have happened if they would have stopped at the 200th? He wouldn't have gotten that $1 million check, and they were the first people, I believe, were their publishers that got that $1 million check. How many no's is your dream worth? Okay, how many no's is your dream worth? Fear of loss. Everything has a price. Okay, everything's got a price. If you've got a family, don't look at this as taking time away from your family. You're paying a price. Make them a part of your dream. What is it that your kids want? What is it that your partner in life wants? Make that a part of what you're doing. Because if they're a part of it, then they're going to encourage you. Remember Shalyn Murphy a couple of years ago? She showed her daughter, rock that party, Mom. Okay, the kids didn't feel that they were losing mommy time. They felt that, go work, Mom, because I want to go to Disney. You know, she just bought her and Patrick just bought a dream home in Florida. 5 years ago, they were in no position to do so. Their son had major surgery on serious medication. This business has liberated them, okay? And what's interesting, she shared, I don't know if she shared this in Indy, but in California she shared, at the beginning, she posted something on Facebook, and somebody said, get a job. Get a job. Now, what if she would have listened to that? And I'm just sharing real stories, guys. What if she would have listened to that person? She's the #2 income earner of this company. She just bought a dream home, and she just posted her dream home, and the same person posted, congratulations. Okay? Revenge is the best success. Don't buy into somebody else. Believe in what you want to believe. Okay? But more importantly than that, you got to put the action plan into it. Because without the action plan, it's not going to happen. And the last one, which is powerful, is fear of success. How many people have fear of success? Success is not a moment in your life, it's a journey. Because as you achieve something, you're going to climb towards something else. So you got to decide which one of these fears is your biggest fear. And overcome that, because once you overcome that, it's like turning the handle to a door. Okay? And byproducts of fear lead to, number 1, procrastination. How many of us procrastinate? And you know what? The first person, Richard Flint, has been one of our mentors. And I'll never forget at one of the first conferences we heard him, he says, every time you hit snooze on your alarm, you are procrastinating. How many of us procrastinate in the morning? Okay? So just remember that because it's very, very visual. Oh shit, I'm procrastinating. Okay? You can't be procrastinating. Are you disorganized? Okay?
That's not true. That's just how I work.
You try, Jessica.
And number 3, do you waste time? I got to clean up my office. Guys, it's high payoff activities that count. Do that at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. okay, when you can't be productive doing that. And these, you got to practice these 3 Ds. Desire has got to be bigger than fear. Think and Grow Rich. What's one of the first chapters? Desire. Okay. Second one is faith. Okay. Desire has to be bigger than fear. So what's the new definition of fear, guys? Face everything and rise. Okay. Don't let it defuse you. But remember, guys, to succeed just means you're moving forward. And it's always a stepping stone. Determination must have, and Jen talked about it, I can, I will. I can, I will. No more trying. We'll do an exercise on that later. And discipline, guys. You got to be disciplined to your goals. Plan out your day before the day happens. Discipline, because you'll follow your plan. If you fail to plan, you'll plan to fail. Okay? So hopefully those are some things that you can look at. Find your biggest fear, and what is it about fear? And as you do that, it all goes back to your why. What is it that you want? And you're always going to have, your why is always going to evolve. Jeff Olson always says your plan is going to change as you go along, but you need a plan. Okay, so you need to make sure that you do that. You wanted to ask something, Alex?
Out of those fears, which one do you think stops most people?
You know what? Everybody is different. I don't know. A lot of people have fear of success. And a lot of people have fear of failure. They sabotage themselves because the self-talk. Remember, guys, it's not a rear-view mirror, it's the windshield. It's not the rear-view mirror. The rear-view mirror is the past. You can't change your past, but you can change your future. You can't change your past, but you can change your future. And this is, and that's why personal development, we need to feed that. You need to have that outfit and say, dang, I look good. I love that analogy. Okay? Because when you put that on, does anybody ever hear a song on the radio? From maybe, I want to date myself 20, 30 years ago, and it brings you back to that time. Okay? That's the feeling you need to have. Create that in yourself. Have a song that you listen to before you're calling people. Okay? And put that on because it's going to get you into the mode. And whenever you're down, your shoulders are down, your head's down. Okay? You can change your attitude in seconds. You know, I saw Anthony Robbins once. He says, lift up your head, lift up your shoulders, and look at the sky and try to be mad. You're going to start laughing. And it's that quick that you can change it. So you got to make sure that you've got the mindset to do that. Jude?
Yeah, so back to desire. I mean, when we all come in this business, the first thing we do is, what do we do? Oh, so what's your why? I'm like, I don't know what my why is. I don't even know what a why it is. Think of it this way, what you want more of or what you want less of. Right? What do I want more in my life? What do I want less in my life? It makes it really simple. And again, to achieve the why, it's got to be something that is so vivid in your mind. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. We always have long-term ones. But we got to do some stuff that are kind of short-term too. And I always compare it or have an analogy about weeding the garden. We kind of travel a lot, and so by choice, you don't have to travel in this business, but we do it because we love traveling. We have the freedom to do so, so we take advantage of that. But you know, so weeding the garden. So I can always tell when I'm away for like a week, and I come home, and what? There's like weeds coming up everywhere, right? Anybody like gardening, or even if you don't like gardening, the weeds show up, right? Like you're not. What are those weeds? That's what naturally happens. And it even amazes me through like concrete, you'll see this tiny little crack, and you'll see something sprout up, and I'm like, through that crack, that tiny little crack, there's this. Guys, what is that? That's our negative thoughts, our fears, our doubts. That is what is so natural in all of us since we were a little kid. It's just our natural way of being. Okay, it's the first thing that comes to our mind, and the only way you're going to get rid of that is by what? Replacing it with positive affirmations, visualization. I mean, Syl talked about it. We've got our screensavers. We want to be on that Mediterranean cruise. It's on our screensavers. I've got a board at home right beside where I work. I also have another book. And so anytime I get anything negative, it's like, boom, I open that book and I start smiling. I'm going, who cares about that person? They're not paying my bills. They're not. So how do we replace that with positive thoughts? Through reading, personal development, through affirmations. Anybody here was at the conference? Do you guys remember Jessica Potter when they called her up on stage? Jessica Potter, she's a nurse, and she had a dream to go to Italy. And do you remember that? So it's one thing to say, oh, my wife's go to Italy. They made that dream so vivid. When are you going? Who are you going with? Where are you going to stay? What type of hotel? What are you going to do there? All of these details were so vivid, and even at the end, they put a little slideshow of it. How crazy is that? That vision is so implanted in her brain that I bet you she'll achieve it. That's how vivid we need to make some of the things that we want. Jen was just talking about a lake house that she, wants, that's part of her dream board, and she goes, she's already drawn it out. How vivid are your dreams? How vivid are the things that you want to do? Okay? And unfortunately, a lot of our things are kind of long-term, but again, we got to bring them down to the short-term. So let me give you a couple of samples of some of the things that I've done with some of the people I work with, and we're going to get you guys do this too, so listen up carefully. So for Syl and I, when we talk about, and on the screen, that's what he was talking about. So our what, Neora is our what, right? That's what we're using to help us achieve what we want to do. Our what is Neora, that's our vehicle. But our why are we doing this? Why are we here on a Saturday? Heck, I'm sure some of you would have loved to sleep in, chill, watch movies all day, but you're here. So that's part of your why. And so let me give you 3 examples, and I want you guys to think, okay, so if you make more, okay, so I want to make money. Money is like empty. Money doesn't give any emotion. Okay, so what's that money going to do? What's it going to pay? So for Syl and I, what we do with this business, one, it's about making a difference and affecting people's lives. That's really true to my heart. If I never made a dime, well, I really like to make money though too, but I would still do it because I love what I do and I love the people and I love seeing people grow. But the other thing is we wanted our freedom, and having worked 7 days a week, a noose around our neck, I'm like, I am not doing this. I looked ahead 5-10 years and I'm like, I ain't doing this for the next 20 years. I've been in the rat race. I did the traffic thing, and I worked for large corporations. I worked for my dad's companies for 20 years. I'm like, no. and so when we got this little taste of freedom, and some of you, might already reduce some of your hours, or you might be doing things that maybe you didn't do before because of Neora already. And so, that freedom that we have, we're not giving that up. Being able to travel and bring our son, this is so cool to us. It's part of our why and what we get to do and meet fantastic people everywhere. So let me give you another person, one of the girls that I work with, and she loves horses, and she volunteers a lot of her time. She's semi-retired, volunteers a lot of her time with therapeutic horses. And she was saying, when I was talking to her last year, we were talking about goals for 2019, and she said, she was like kind of disappointed in 2018. She goes, one of the things I really wanted to do was be able to have the extra money to support a horse, like to pay for the maintenance and feeding the horse for the whole year. And so, we started, because her why was all about making extra money. I'm like, okay, let's go deeper. We wanted to find something that was emotionally attached to the money. And so as we kept talking and I kept asking her questions, this all came out. I'm like, hello, that's your passion. And Neora is going to help you be able to do that. So we set up a goal of making $1,000. Some of the money that for Neora money was going to go, put up a little thermometer of putting the money that she's making, not all the money, but some of the money towards that goal. So now when she talks to people about her why, her passion is her horses and what she does with her horses. So when she talks about Neora now, she's got this glow in it, right? She's got this glow. It's not like, oh, here's my products and here's all the science and background and here's the ingredients. It's, here's what I'm doing. And Neora, that's allowing me to build up this money to fulfill my passion and to help others. Does that make sense? So think of this as I'm talking, because we're going to ask you guys to do that. Another example is there's another lady I'm working with that she wanted to make her own money. Her husband, they have a lot of money as a family. And so she was making a couple $100 a month. And she was just putting it into the bank account. And so, we talked, and I'm like, how much are you making? We were talking about it. I'm like, that's a lot of money. And she goes, it just doesn't feel like I'm accomplishing anything. I'm like, first of all, you're getting free products. You're making this much money. So what, and I said, well, what are you doing with the money? And she says, well, I just put it in the bank account. But compared to her husband's income, it was like looking really tiny. I said, no. We're going to either open up a separate bank account or we're leaving it in your Paylution. And that's what we started doing. And so I said, what are some of the things that you can do with that money? She goes, I want to bring my family. They went to Disney this summer. She took them out to dinner. And it was so empowering. Like Jen was talking about, you got to feel good about what you're doing. So when she takes the money out of there, it's like, hey, we're going to lunch on me and Neora, right? She said, she's got a big house. And she goes, one of the problems I have to find time, she's got lots of kids and she homeschools. One of the problems with her is finding time. I said, well, where does your time go? We talk. And she goes, well, cleaning and this and that. And I said, great. How much does a cleaning lady cost? So now you take some of your Neora money and you pay for that cleaning lady. How empowering is that? Do you guys get where I'm going with this? So what I want you to do, we got time for exercise, eh? Yep. So what I want you to do is find somebody that you're not sitting next to, okay? And just pair up in twos, and I want you to just share. So I know we've got long-term wise, but just something that you're passionate about, and maybe just, in 5 minutes we can kind of say, like the woman with the horse, how can we make that be into your New York conversation? I know Mary and I've had these discussions too, but how do we make that into New York conversation? So like Syl and I being able to foster a child, we couldn't have done that before. So through Neora, we're now able to, be stay-at-home parents and he's got special needs and we're able to be there for this child. That is, so that's how we talk about Neora. Does that make sense? Are you guys clear? So just in 5 minutes, find somebody you don't know, and I want you to just maybe share something that you're passionate about, and then, we can kind of share it.
Good, Renee.
Kim,
Renee, beat you.
let's talk.
I gotta go.
Well, this is interesting. But I already know you.
You gotta say your why, but
You want to be with us, John?
attach it next to a feeling, something that you're gonna, what's gonna be the positive outcome.
Well, in my world, this is
So, my why has changed, but one of the main reasons why I can be consistent with this business is this is a way by having you start the business, determine what their extra money is worth, trying to get them in their life.
But I have to
Power them to do it by showing.
What's the passion about that?
No business they can start.
What's the emotional attachment to it?
You guys know the business, right? They can do that.
I didn't steal that.
So I could get out of debt,
And I wanted to fix that.
so
I realized
maybe she's 4 now, so she's had babies.
Your why is much stronger than mine.
I want to be able all those things with my family and my grandkids specifically that I couldn't do with my parents because I didn't have the money and I didn't have the time. So I don't want to be able to leave them like I said. So they have that. I've been working with this business so he believes in this business, but so mine's attached to it. There's a lot of work. Mine's attached to it. And I want to help you. It's frustrating. They don't want to help you. I understand what you're saying.
They want to help you, they just don't understand. They don't see that this is how.
These fears.
Because everybody sees help as a lottery ticket or they get called over trouble. They didn't know about that. That's what they see as help. Or
They want it fast.
That's exactly.
It's not always fast.
Aging of the skin. It took you X amount of years for your skin to get to this level. It's going to take 10 years for you to do it. It took you X amount of years to get where you are now. It's going to take you X amount of years to get out of it. That's why I asked so cool. Because I can't figure out what's happening.
Those are small.
That's my personality.
What I want to achieve is whether give me a no for 90 days. And
Sabotaging myself. Okay, tell them about this. Even though I'm thinking that, my subconscious, she asked me, what's and she said, here's the one time you said something just from talking to him. I said, they use rain as usual. And he goes, that's your problem. And I told him, that's your problem. Because I said, get in as usual.
oh my gosh.
That's what, because you're just like,
You've already You already set the energy out there that it's not gonna happen.
That's what you need.
I started listening to excursions of like
Guys, 4 more minutes. 4 more minutes.
it's hard to find. I found it on a 9-hour YouTube video.
I just want to be able to
I
give
download each one. Didn't like what it this was written before the Think and Grow Rich. They took it off the market because they felt that it shared too much of the success of it. And then Think and Grow Rich was published replacing it. I mean, I don't think Grow Rich like back in my day. But I've heard it enough times to where
Well, I
I
think,
can kind of, I know by the sound of the music what's going to be said. So
I've read it several times in the library.
So when you start listening to him, he takes every single one of those stories and expands on it from every single chapter. So there's a chapter right now that is all about enthusiasm. So that was about confidence. But he says about enthusiasm. And I tried getting trying to listen to it. She was like, I can't just get to the point. This is how they talk, but the story he tells is very real. He said, the man that does not wear the part that he wants to be and never get the attention to get him to that part. So he's talking about how you can clothes. And this is back in the early 1900s when I think clothes had more impact on the society. He wouldn't have talked to me at all. And he talking about he said, I walked into a store and 2 or 3 others and I said, this is
You have nothing? We had a promotion
Guys, 30 seconds to wrap it up.
It's crazy. You know, I remember when
so much more. One contest and what
I just kind of gave me
but he was just shy of the past
Right, that's the video, break the deck, I did the game, but I did it. I went out, I bought the car, I paid $600 a month.
that they have to undergo or they can never see them. And so that's kind of a longer term attachment. Right now it's just being able to
That's what I think. Getting motivated.
We were in the office from 7 a.m. Then Obama came in and picked it all up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't breathe. It was interesting. I was having a friend in town. But you know what the other side of the story is? He's talking about how to do this. So, our weed is very excited. One's trying to understand. He's like, just go there.
Well, in like the first video that you what I
All right, guys, let's wrap it up.
And when those extremes take power, that's it. It's just gonna
They're cheering us on. I wondered how much farther that got you, how much faster
for the first time. And if I'm paying more attention,
How many people found some value in that and discovered
You guys
something?
like that? Awesome. I just want to give a shout out to Kenny and any other supporting spouses here. And he's here supporting his wife, and I just love, we hear so many times where the spouse isn't supporting us, or you're like, oh, you're going to the meeting again, oh, you with the kids again. And so I just want to give a big shout out to, there may be other spouses here, any other spouses that are here just helping their their man or their woman, and you showed up and said, yeah, no, you're working too. That's awesome.
That's my man.
Awesome. That's awesome.
All right.
I do a lot more support now than I used to.
And we're just left, but she has a really great story too that we'll share later. Anybody want to share one thing that they maybe discovered or something like, wow, this is really.
Yeah, it's
Oh, you're back there. I was looking here. I'm like, she's gone.
This girl doesn't
See my
go
short-term
nowhere.
memory?
You ain't gonna quit. I like your shirt.
yeah, that's the store.
I'm unable to quit as I'm currently legitimately.
So Jessica, just very quickly, so Jessica had a dream of buying a home, and even, is it 5 years ago, she kind of put it up there, but it was not even in her realm of possibilities, like, right? I mean, personally, you weren't even thinking it, like, you weren't that person you are today that can even believe that you could do it.
Right. We actually owed a considerable amount of back taxes. And throughout the years, I guess if you have more children, I had no idea it was like this, but they pay you for having children. And we never saw that money. So along the way, our back taxes eventually got paid off, a lot of it. But then there was still like things. But 5 years ago, I just said, this is what I want. I want a home that's mine, that I can paint whatever color I want. I want a goat in the backyard. My kids deserve this. I'm not getting a goat, just so you guys know. But a month ago, almost a month ago, we closed on our home. It's amazing. And now I'm like, okay, I need an RV now because whenever I want to get up and go. And as we were driving down the road, it's really funny. JoJo, my daughter, I was like, next we're getting one of those. And Sadie, my little 5-year-old, said, what's that? And we're like, it's a house on wheels. And JoJo's like, yeah. And we can park wherever we want, do whatever we want,
Sounds like
go wherever we want. And I went,
That's so awesome.
She's my daughter.
So,
yeah.
so Miura
But
was your vehicle. Now, it didn't pay for your house completely. It certainly
No.
contributed.
But
But what did it do? It made you the person you are
yeah.
today. It gave you the support and the positivity of people around you going, yes, you can, versus that's a crazy idea. You're never going to amount to anything.
yeah,
that make sense?
exactly.
So-
Well, yeah,
And
I
certainly the finances.
never
yeah.
imagined it. I never imagined it, and it was really surreal.
That's pretty awesome.
Surreal.
Love it.
So
Love
it
it.
still is. It's
We will love you until you learn to love yourself.
right.
But here's more importantly, what it's doing for her kids.
Yeah, what it
The
is,
ripple
they're
effect
the
of what this is
role
doing
model.
for her kids.
Yeah.
Same thing with us with this business with Haven. Sometimes he'll come up and he'll want to share his affirmations, his dreams and goals. So
Like
just to
show up
get,
at
we
some
listen
point,
to
yeah.
the tapes, guys, in the car with Haven. And he's picking up stuff all the time. So engulf them with it. Let them hear it because it will make a difference. You may not think it's making a difference. We were at a meeting with Haven at his school talking to his teacher, and we were busy talking, and he was off doing his own thing. And he says, Dad, you can't change your past, but you can change your future. We were talking about something.
We both turned around and went, where'd you get that?
What are you talking about? He says, you know, Dad, you can't change your past, but you can change your future. What are you talking about, Bo? Bo who?
Like,
Oh, sure, Dad. But completely out of context, okay? But he heard that information and he knows it. He understands that. So, well, he
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We took him to the India training last year. That happened. So, guys, you know, it doesn't mean you need to bring your
He's at the
kids
back
in,
of the
but
room, but he's
listen,
still, yeah,
listen.
here.
You know, let them hear the stuff because it will make a profound difference on them.
That's
So it's
affirmation.
huge. So.
Hey, John, you had something to say that will take one?
No, I was just, Jessica took
Oh,
care of it.
okay. Anyway, so guys, and I know a couple of people weren't sure, so again, you know, we were talking about someone was like, well, I really don't know what that means. So if you're ready for retirement, could it mean you retire early? What would you be doing if you had all the time and all the money? That's where your brain wants to go. And if you want to say, do volunteer work, well, who and where? Start looking, start mapping it out like Jen's done with her lake house. You know, one of my big things is, you know, micro-lending. I mean, there's just so many, you know, foster kids, you know, going out of the system, being able to help them, you know, get settled. We do so much, and these children are on their own after 18, you know. We're like, what can we do, you know, to help them or be a support for them or mentors for them as they go on their life all alone? I'm like, I can't even imagine that. So these are some of the projects we're working on, you know, while we're building our business. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but these are things that fuel me and excite me as to why we want to keep doing what we're doing. So Awesome.
And guys, our whole business is this right here. When somebody says, what do you do? This is really the essence of what we do. And I always like, you know,